Hi there everybody, Finding Arios here. Welcome to the first track explanation piece of this series. Sorry it took me a little while to get taken care of. I was a little busy the past few days. But if you missed the last video, it was the kind of full album explanation, kind of explaining a lot of my thought processes and explaining, some inspirations and kind of going through how the album kind of came to be. Today's episode is going to be about the first track in the title track, "Grown Enough." The way it starts is it's essentially the introductory piece to the album. It's one of the ones that's kind of like the least integral to the album, but also it's one of the ones that's kind of the most encompassing of the album. I tried to kind of play with all the sounds I was working with on the album. I kind of left out a little bit, like I didn't keep kind of that electro rock that I did with some later tracks. But I do think I did, I do think I did get most of the kind of soundscape of the album in that song. The song is kind of split up into three sections. This first section, which is a kind of a recap of each year in my high school experience, kind of explaining, how I progressed as a person in those years and going through, a lot of the changes that I had. The second section is actually a bit of a kind of callback piece to a lot of the albums that kind of did a lot of influence on me as a person in those years. And they're not all albums that I love. There's a couple albums in there that I do actually kind of mention my distaste for quite often, like Dreamland by Glass Animals or Solutions by K-Flay. But a lot of those albums, they're important to me because of where they were placed in my time in high school. Some of them are albums that are older. Some were released in high school. I kind of played around with it, had to kind of toy with the structure a little bit to make everything make sense. And then the third section, it gets all quiet, and it's just supposed to be me kind of establishing a bit of a start of a progression in the story of the album, because it is a story album at the end of the day. It's a direct story, it's chronological, all placed in a specific order, as I explained in the last video. And kind of the general idea with that piece was kind of talking to my younger self in a way, kind of establishing it as there's two characters. One is, my older self, the person that was making the album, and one was my younger self who was, experiencing those things for the first time. In a way, I guess the album's a bit of a diary of things I wish I could have explained to my younger self before I started the process of high school. And then for a lot of the bits and pieces in the song, I actually sampled songs from the Not the Same EP.